Hello and welcome to the 2021 French GP strategy analysis for the Williams team. Today we'll run through a comparison of the strategies for the two drivers, movements throughout the race and their race pace. Let's get into it. So comparison of the strategy, very similar strategy here. As you can see, only 1 lap difference in the pit stop on the mediums, then onto the hard. Very typical, majority of the field went with this strategy, so nothing special at all here from Williams on the strategy front. And then looking into the actual race, here you can see Russell falling down quite a few positions initially there on the first 2 laps. And then it took quite some time for him to actually start catching up to positions as some people were starting to do their pit stops. And Russell coming in that 1 lap earlier than Latifi. But really, once they switched onto that hard tyre, Russell did a really good job in terms of catching up to others and overtaking, and ended up 12th, which was a great result. And in a race with no retirements, you just have to think if there were a few more retirements further up the field, what could have been from a points perspective. Latifi, in comparison, did a really good job on the first stint, but the second stint, he just did not have the pace at all compared to Russell, which we can dive into now. So have a look at the race pace between these two teammates. So you can see here, if it's up here, Russell's ahead, down here, Latifi's ahead. You can see here, Latifi just ahead of Russell for that first stint, and had done quite a good job there until Russell actually got past Latifi. But pretty consistent from the teammates there, and even once Russell had got past, relatively consistent pace. But then we look, once the pit stop, first 5 laps relatively equal, but after that, Russell just did a fantastic job from a pace perspective until right at the end. You can see Russell here starting to lose some time to Latifi right at the end. And again, that really could have just been a mix of back markers, having to cede blue flags to the leaders of the race and traffic. So, or could have been Russell as well, starting to feel it from his aggressive push on the new tyres, but it flatlined at the end there. So I think that's mainly back marker impact there. And if we look here at the lap times with the pit stops included at the start, as we could see, very consistent. The back half of the stint, apart from those 3 laps there, Russell pretty much quicker than Latifi on every single lap, and sometimes quite a decent margin as well. So that's quite notable. And then zooming in here without the pit stops in there, and this is what we're talking about. Look at this period here, 1 second a lap quicker. And even here when Latifi and Russell a bit later on, you can see still quite a significant gap there. It's only this bit here which really started to reduce the gap towards the end of the race. And then looking at this lap by lap, the differential, really tight through the first 15 laps, and then the actual pit stops. And then initially not much of a gap, but as we saw, Russell just consistently quicker than Latifi on the hard tyre right until the end there, where we could see Latifi's just catching up a little bit. And then looking finally at the histogram, so Russell on the right-hand side, Latifi quicker on the left-hand side. Russell clearly having more laps on the right-hand side, and on top of that, quite a few around this 1 second mark as well, as we could see those periods. Whereas Latifi's actually pretty good in terms of out to 0.5 seconds, but those 1 seconds, then greater than 2 seconds, leads to Russell being a long way ahead. So on the whole, Russell definitely having the stronger weekend there, but definitely the start cost him a little bit, and who knows what would have happened if we had a few retirements further up the field. So that was the Williams recap from the French GP. If you'd like to see more teams analysis, then check it out on the playlist and the channel. Otherwise, thank you.